Morning. Is it this one, Jimmy? Yeah. Okay. All right. So as we have been talking about the cycle of loving our neighbors, which leads them to loving God. This year I was given the opportunity once again to go down to Jamaica. This is my 10th year, not in a row, but it's been 10 years since I started going. That's what I'm trying to say. And there we go. And one thing I do down there every single time, I don't know why I do this. Actually, I do. It's kind of like a camera test because I take pictures down there a lot. Is I'll take a picture of the moon. And one thing that always fascinates me about the moon is it's the brightest thing in the sky at night. And it shines bright enough that it can light up the entire area around you. I've taken pictures at night that look like they're in the daytime, which is kind of crazy. But it never shines of its own accord. It always shines because the sun is shining on it. And this is like with Moses in the Exodus story, in the verse that Enoch just read for us. Moses goes in to speak with God, and when he comes out, he is shining, and it scares the Israelites. He is shining so brightly. And I always think about this when we go down. And this year, I decided to use this idea for the lesson that I taught on Sunday down there. Before I went down, I was trying to figure out what the lesson was going to be. There were a whole bunch of ideas I had. I talked to Jimmy about it. He gave me a bunch of good ideas. I threw them all out. I'm sorry. I just decided to go with just a simple lesson on prayer. Because in order to shine onto the people around us there in Jamaica, we need to spend time in the presence of God. And that's one of the best ways that we can spend time with God is through prayer. And all of this kind of just to say, when I give one of these presentations, I'm always afraid that I'm going to try to take some of the credit that isn't due to me. I want to make sure that all the credit goes to God. I thank you all for all the contributions you guys give. I thank everybody who goes down with us, who does great work down there. But I want to make sure that I give credit to God for what he does down there through us. But let's get into it. This is Jamaica 2026. We were in the town of Loitas Vale. There we go. Starting out, I'm going to start from a weird angle. I'm going to start from the bottom right here. And introduce everybody. This is Mary, this is Lori, this is Christina, Paige. Paige is Christina's daughter. Going up from Paige, we have Noah, who is Lori, and you can't see him back there, but that's Greg. Noah is their grandson. Cam here is also Christina's son. Then we have Isaac. Isaac is the cook that we have had for the past few years. He used to be a chef on a cruise line. Let me tell you, if you need an excuse to go down there, the food is fantastic. Like, outside of a cruise ship, where else are you going to get cruise line food? Anyway, over here, little Jory, she is just a little ball of sunshine. And her mom, Maydeen is the wife of the former preacher. I'll show a picture of him in a minute. He wasn't able to be here for most of the week. But the current preacher is this young man right here. It is Brother Stendy and his wife, Maisha. They do great work down there, and we'll talk about them in a minute as well. But coming back up here, the guy who's hidden way up here at the top, that is Kevin Lowe. He is the preacher at the Whitehall Church of Christ in Fairmont, West Virginia. His congregation is the one that kind of puts everything together. And it all goes through this guy right here, whose name is Greg. If Greg wasn't here, we would not be going down to Jamaica. He does pretty much all of the work to set up for us to go down there. He gets all of the accommodations, the flights. He drives us around down there, makes sure that we have food and water throughout the week. He does so much. We're always thankful for everything he does. And then over here, this is Shelby. Shelby has been working with us since at least 2017, maybe 2016. I can't remember exactly. I don't have pictures from 2016 of her, but I thought she was there, but other people are saying she wasn't. Anyway, then some weird white dude who just wandered off the street, and over there is Javon. Javon has been helping us since at least 2019. He may have been there beforehand, but again, I don't have pictures of those ones. So, but I want to talk about Shelby and Javon there for a second. If we can go. There we go. In December, we got to go down to Jamaica again last year, and we helped restore 2 of the houses down there. This is Shelby's house. Her roof is made of concrete, which was good during the storm, but it also leaked a lot into the foundation of the place. And there was a smell of mildew and a bunch of other stuff, so we sealed her roof up with this beautiful blue paint, which we did not choose that color on purpose. That's what they had. Otherwise, wouldn't have done it. And then this is Javon's parents' house. When you walked in this room, those sticks up there, that was it. Past that was just sky. There was nothing in that room blocking the elements. So we were able to put a roof back on that house, as well as replace a lot of these termite-ridden boards right here. It's kind of fun to watch. Javon's father is a construction worker, and so he was able to do a lot of the work himself, and we supplied the supplies for it. But he just got up there with a hammer and just started smashing these, and just like, okay. But next up, we kind of talked about the food, but the food's always fantastic. I love the food. Let me tell you, I know food. This is their workstation at the back of the church there in Loitas Vale. This is where Isaac spent every day from sun up to sundown. He was cooking that entire day and cooked some of the most fantastic food you could ever have in your life. But every year, the food is fantastic down there. This is breadfruit that's cooking over an open fire. They're roasting it there, along with probably some sort of stewed pork or stewed chicken or something like that. And then the other thing that I love down there, and I just want to highlight a couple things that I love here, is the singing that we have every single night down there. They do what's called a crusade down there. We'd call it a gospel meeting. They call it a crusade. But it starts out with about an hour of singing and then about an hour of preaching after that. And one neat thing that you have out here is, this is actually Brother Finley. He's the preacher that was there that night. But a lot of times you'll have people standing around outside of these slatted windows and like peering in. And we always tell them, come on in, you're allowed to come in. And they think they're not dressed well enough or something like that. And like, nah, come on in. But they're embarrassed and they don't want to come in, which is sad, but it is what it is. But whenever I come back from Jamaica, for weeks afterwards, I'm still doing it. I'm still singing the songs that they sing down there. They sing what are called choruses, and then they'll pick up the same book that we use here. But Caribbean choruses, if you've never looked up a Caribbean chorus, definitely do. They are, A, they're really awesome sounding, and B, just they'll get stuck in your head in the best way possible. So, give you an idea of where Loitas Vale is at. That little red dot down there is where Loitas Vale is, and we flew in up here at Sanger Airport in Montego Bay. And as you see, it takes about 2.5 hours to get there. It didn't take us 2.5 hours this time. It took us 5, which was really fun, let me tell you. We ended up getting stuck up here in traffic all the way until Ocho Rios, which is behind this little tag right there. It was the worst traffic I've ever seen on that island. And we had to we didn't have the bus that we were originally supposed to get because it was having brake problems. Seems like everyone was having brake problems down there for some reason. So we actually had to order a taxi, and the taxi was obnoxiously expensive. But we paid it. It wasn't a big deal. But halfway through the trip down there, right around Runaway Bay up there, I was sitting in the front seat right next to the driver, and yes, I'm sitting on this side because it's backwards down there. And the driver picks up his phone, starts talking to someone in Patois. I know very little Patois, even with the 10 years I've been going down there. And suddenly he just like pulls off the side of the road and goes up this, what I guess was a road. I'm not entirely sure that was a road, but we drive through there, and I'm not sure what he's doing. Nobody is really sure what he's doing, but he drives into this little car lot, which wasn't really a car lot. It was kind of just a dirt road. And this entire time, Mary, who was down there at the bottom right, was kind of freaking out the entire time. See, she had been reading this book about martyrs for the church in the modern day who had been kidnapped on mission trips and then had either gotten away, most of them had, or, not. So she was freaking herself out that entire time. Going, I'm not getting out of the car. And she was smacking her husband, Kevin, going, where are we? What are we doing? What's going on? Why are you not paying attention? Of course, he was asleep the entire time, just out like a light. He's like, what are you doing, woman? So we pull into this one little lot, and I asked the driver what we were doing. He said he was having brake problems too, which, woo. And I want to give you a little idea of what this lot was like. This is the mechanic shop. There is no roof. The backboard that he had up there was knocked over by Melissa last year, and he hasn't had a chance to rebuild it. And those are his tools right there. And he's got a chair, and that's about it. But let me tell you, he got those tires on and off in speeds that make NASCAR pit crews, it would make them blush. Like he just, and like 5 minutes, we had one tire fixed. 5 minutes, we had the other tire fixed, the brake, not the tire, and we were on our way back into traffic, obviously. And yes, like I said, it took 5 hours to get there, but eventually we did get to Loitas Vale, and I wanted to show you a picture of the house we stayed in. This is the best one I've got. See that little house over there with the blue roof right there on the left side? That's the one we stayed in. It's much bigger than that. It's a 2-story house. It's being treated as an Airbnb with 2 Airbnb places to stay. And we stayed on the 2nd floor. There were 4 rooms. It was a fairly nice place to stay, and there was air conditioning in all but my room, of course. Yeah, and we would just walk down this road and out into the main road. And this area right here is fairly indicative of what you would see in a lot of places in Jamaica. This house right here in particular, it has two levels. There was originally just 1 level, and then they built a 2nd level on top of it probably about 20 years afterwards. And now they have these rebars sticking out the top here. You might be able to kind of see that from where you are. They leave those sticking out so that they can build another layer on top of it in another generation or so. So they'll have like 3-4 generations staying in the same household. And it won't just be like grandparents, parents, kids. It'll be grandparents, parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and your brothers and sisters, all staying in one household. And that's, for economic reasons, that's what they do. But another thing that Loitas Vale is known for is back here is the sugarcane plantation. This is actually the view from Shelby's house. Every time she walks out, this is what she gets to look at. And the sugarcane plantation is a giant plantation down there. And I thought I took more pictures of it this year. This is the only one I had, which, yes. But anyway, that's the sugarcane over there. And you can see that little chimney up there. That little chimney, these are pictures from 2019 when I went to Loitas Vale before. This is the factory where they process the sugarcane. And every day, I forget what time it was like 11 o'clock or something like that, they ring a loud siren for one shift to get off and the other shift to get on. So you can hear it throughout the entire town. And that way everybody knows, hey, it's time to go to work. As you can see down here, it is gigantic, that plantation. And what they'll do is they'll harvest the sugarcane, they'll take it to the factories, they'll get all the leaves off, and they'll pack it on these big trucks. And the big trucks will go over the mountain there. The entire valley is surrounded in mountains. And they will drive over the mountain, back down into Linstead, which is where we were last year. And we got to see this neat little thing last year. This is them trying to patch the roads after a year of not maintaining the roads pretty much at all. Bunch of potholes, and they try to do this so that when the sugar canes is brought over the mountain, it's not getting knocked all over the place. Fun thing about this is a log. This is, I believe, a stone and another stone, and then another log up there. This is back in December. We were going over the mountain to get to Loitas Vale to work on Shelby's house that day. And when we came back, all of these, including the stone, were demolished. Someone had just driven right through all of them. I don't know how a car broke a rock, but it did. And all of the potholes were all back to the way they were before. That's just kind of something you'd learn to expect down there. But when we went over in the summer, it wasn't that bad. They got most of them fixed up again. Anyway, to the Barnes Pen Church of Christ. This is the church. This is the church building. There is a smaller building off to the right here that I didn't have a picture of that used to be the church building. It is much, much smaller. It's probably about the size of maybe the length of a pew and probably like 5 rows back. It's not very big. They use that as the Sunday school classroom now. But as you can see, it's kind of losing its paint, which is sad because back in 2019, we were the ones who painted that church originally. And where he is right there is, if we can go back, there we go, is where all that paint is coming off right now. So it needs another paint job. It's been 7 years, which I thought it would last longer, but it is what it is. So that is plans for the future right there. It's getting that building painted. But also back in 2019, they had a different preacher, like I said. His name is Jake Smalls. This is him, wielding a machete, pointing at something. Why he didn't use his finger, I don't know. But I about fell off the car to take that picture that I was sitting on. I was sitting on the hood of a car, and he just points at something with the machete. Go, ah! And yeah, so he's a great guy. Don't let the picture fool you. He did great work down there, and he ended up coming up to the States back in 2023 to preach in Memphis. But with the current administration, he ended up having to go back down to Jamaica in, I think, the spring of this year. And so he's currently looking for a house and a car, at least as of July he was. But this is the preacher that is down there now. This is, like I said, Brother Stendy and Isha. They both came from Haiti back in, I think, 2019. It's in the interview that I did with him, what year he went, but we'll get to that in a bit. But he came over to go to the Jamaican School of Preaching. They bring over like 2 people each year for the Jamaican School of Preaching from Haiti to try to, give them a little bit better chance of getting a job there or up in the States is where a lot of them end up. But he's doing great work down there. When we went out door knocking, we did all the streets, and we ended up breaking for lunch. And he and Maisha just kept going because they were in a part of the town that they had never been to before, and they were like, we want to go meet all these people that we haven't met before. So he kept going even when we ended up stopping, which I think is amazing. He's doing a great job with preaching. He has big plans for the community that he's trying to bring to fruition. And Maisha, is also amazing. I never saw her off of her laptop. She was working the entire time we were down there for this, that, or the other. She runs a graphic design business. And like I said, she's always making something. And or running the live stream for the church that they have there, which is new to there. I don't think they even had Wi-Fi prior to that, or they might be using their phone, actually. I forget. But yeah, that is something new that they are working on there. So anyway, door knocking, we call it yard yelling, because no matter how poor the community is, unless you're in something like a shantytown situation, everybody has a gate. Everybody. It's for security purposes, keeps some of the more ne'er-do-well individuals out of people's houses, at least a little bit. So they'll have their gates shut. You have to walk up to the gate and say, hello, hello, and sometimes they answer, sometimes they think you're a Jehovah's Witness and try to close the door and lock it. But yeah, we went out, we talked with a bunch of different people, went down pretty much every street in the community and handed out flyers for the VBS, the medical mission, and all that. I just included this because I like this one. This is just a Jamaican clothesline. What they do is they put 2 sticks in the ground, and there's another one over here, and it's like in an X shape, and they'll put like strings between them, and they'll hang their clothing from there. And then just a little surprise Shelby there in the middle. I waited an awkward amount of time to take that picture. And I just like it. So anyway, we headed back to the church to set up for VBS, and the theme that we had was it was Paul and the Underground Church. And so everything had to everything had to look like we were in ancient Rome. And this is all thanks to Mary here. She runs the VBS at the Whitehall Church of Christ in Fairmont. And all these decorations come from Fairmont. They liked it so much, Stendy and Maisha, they liked it so much that they asked if they could keep most of it. And we ended up leaving a lot of it, like this backdrop here and this background here. We ended up leaving a lot of that. But there were also some things that weren't technically ours that had been lent by either another church or another family or something like that we had to bring back. But we left what we could. And while we were setting up for VBS, it started pouring the rain down. And it poured the rain down several days during the week. You might think that that's a bad thing. Not really. Every time we've had it rain down there, especially during the medical missions, that gives us the opportunity afterwards to have a Bible study with the individual who's doing the medical screening. They'll come in, they'll do the medical screening, then they'll look and go, I don't want to walk out in that rain. And they'll look at the pews and go, I don't really want to sit here and be bored the entire time, so I'll go have a Bible study. So we had, I forget how many Bible studies we had, but it was every second that I looked up, we had somebody talking with one of the preachers over there during the medical missions. Anyway, Monday comes around, we start the VBS. We had 20-some children on the first day. And what we do is we start out the day, we have some singing, we have a little skit that we do. Obviously, because we're in ancient Rome, we have to all dress up in, silly garb. And I was a Roman guard named Brutus. Cam was a Roman guard named Roman Guard II. And Noah was Paul. So we were transporting Paul around. And I had a lot of fun with this. The 10 through 12-year-olds class that Mary was teaching, every single day, I would wait until I heard that they were done with their Bible study. And then if they were doing a craft or having a snack or something like that, I would burst into the room, like, what are you people doing in here? And I was the Roman guard trying to hunt down the Christians. And the kids had a lot of fun with that. The first day I was like, it was fun. And then after we have the lesson, after we did singing and the skit, we had the lesson, and we were teaching from the book of Romans, obviously, and go through the lesson, come back together, have a small sing, send the kids off with a gift bag each day. First day, we were able to give, I forget how many backpacks we had with us, but we were able to give out backpacks to all of the teenagers so that when they went back to school, they would have that. Then we'd break for lunch, come back, do the medical clinic, and we would test blood sugar, blood pressure, and eye tests. Obviously, as you can see, I was doing the eye tests, and Paige was there to help with getting the glasses that we had over there. She would keep a fresh supply of them, and if the individual in question didn't look good in the glasses that we were testing with, she'd go get a better looking pair for them. And we had 25 people the first day. I think we had 30 people the second day. It was around 80 people in total. And 25 people doesn't sound like a lot for 2 hours. We were constantly just one after another, the entire time. It was a lot of people. It was so many that people came and asked if we were doing it on Thursday as well. We decided not to this year because usually people don't come in on the last day for some reason. But the one year we decided not to do it on the fourth day, people wanted to come in. We'd already packed up our supplies though, sadly, and it was going to be a bit much to get it back out. Anyway, once we finished up with the medical clinic, we were able to, like I said, we'd have Bible studies with them. Like I said, I'm not sure how many we had, but it was a decent portion of them all stayed for Bible studies. And sometimes it would be Brother Stenney, sometimes it was Kevin, and sometimes Noah or Cam would also help out. Though they're teenagers. They're good. They're not quite there yet to be able to run a Bible study. I don't think I'm quite there yet to be able to run a Bible study, but that beside the point. We were able, however, to have one person. We were able to convert one person while we were down there. This is, I forget what his name is. It begins with an L. But I had it written down and I forgot the paper. But he decided to be baptized on the fourth night that we were down there during the campaign. And we were very thankful that he was able to come to Christ during that week. So that's the update that I have from Jamaica. What I want to do now is I want to let Brother Stendy tell you a little bit about the community down there in Jamaica. I had a small interview with him. The whole interview is about 25 minutes, but we're only going to do a 5-minute slimmed down version of it. So DP, if you wouldn't mind transitioning over to that, I will stand back. we can just we can skip that. Sorry, I want to show you guys that, but I having a powwow back there. All right.
I'll email it out to everybody.
Yep, that's fine. It's in the slideshow, the full one. This was a 5-minute version. There's a 13-minute version as well. Echo? Okay. Well, Brother Stendy wanted me to give something to you guys. So I didn't tell Jimmy I was going to do this, but Jimmy, can you come up here for a second? Yep, should be. This is with heartfelt gratitude for your faithful service to the Barnes Penn Church of Christ. Thank you for sharing Christ's love through the Vacation Bible School, the Medical Mission, and the Gospel Meeting for the Somerset Church of Christ.
Very cool. We'll hang that on the wall. Awesome. Thank you, Tommy.
Yep. Brother Stendy wanted to make sure that the churches back home knew that they were appreciated as well. So this is the link to the interview. This is the full interview that is 13 minutes long, I think. And there's also if you go onto that channel, there's also the video of the baptism if you want to see that as well. But as we go into this week, what I'd like you all to do is, like I said earlier, Jimmy oftentimes wants us to go out and find somebody to help. But before we do that, make sure that we spend some time with God. So make sure we spend some time in the light so that we can be the light, or we can shine the light on others. And that is your sermon for the week. If there's anybody who needs to be baptized, or anybody who has any requests for the church, any issues they want to bring up, please come forward as we stand and sing.